Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm trying something new. Jenny is my first one to do it this way. So I have Jenny Floyd on with me tonight. And her study is, I hope I say this right. She can correct me when she comes on, but thanatology. Never heard of it before. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited to learn about this. So everybody that's here, this all I got to say is I'm gonna like really let Jenny talk and tell us, what she does and all the cool stuff that goes on. Questions, I'll try to put them in as we're going along. Other than that, I'll star them, and I promise you I'll get to the questions as soon as I can. But thank you for joining me for another episode of Paranormal Brew. And again, like I said, I have Jenny Floyd. She's a thanatologist. And I'm going to just stop. I'm just going to bring Jenny in right now. Now, she is driving, so everybody bear with us with the noise and this and that, but we should be able to do this. All right, let's bring her on.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi, Jenny. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you're driving, but thank you for coming on. And sorry, I'm trying to pull Paranormal Brew. So, oh shoot, I'm doing the wrong thing. So let's I want to get into this. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of questions, and I'm sure anybody watching that has never heard of, am I saying it right? Thanatology?
Yes, thanatology.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure. And who hasn't ever heard of this subject of this study of subject and your research and your work that you do, which I find fascinating. So I'm going to shut up. I want you just to kind of, whatever you're comfortable with, like, maybe like how you got into the paranormal or how you got into, and, how you got to where you are now.
So, the paranormal found me at a very young age. My family was into the paranormal, and my mother used to see a palm reader, and I was telling her about visitors I saw, and she said that I was a human lie detector and a empath, basically, in so many words. And it kind of continued on with that. Then in recent years, I married my husband, and we did the ghost tours, and we did some books, and we're still working on books right now.
Okay, so all right, so let's pause for 1 second. So at a young age, so when you were saying you were seeing these what you were seeing were spirits, ghosts,
yes. Whatever. I wasn't aware they were spirits.
Right. Okay. So, and then you were told that you had special gifts, which you do,
Yes.
And then, so then you said, were you like, did you do investigating and stuff like that? You said you did ghost tours. Was it for like a certain town or?
My mom, she brought me around local ghost hunters at a very young age. There was an antique store called Joe Lay Antiques. She worked there for many years. We actually did a investigation there, the only investigation there ever was there. And there was nothing there that night. For me, what I believe, the atmosphere has to be right. And
absolutely.
I think they're like regular. I mean, they're just passed on. If they don't want to talk, they're not going to talk, right?
Right.
But that night they brought a psychic in, and at the very last moment they were like, is there anything here? And she said, yes, there is a man here. He loves this couch, and he's smoking a cigar smoke. Do you smell it? And in thanatology, well, that's what, people do to manipulate a situation. There was nothing. They want you to think something's going on, and being empathic and knowing, hey, there's nothing here. It's an antique store. There's a guy. Of course he's going to like that couch,
Right. No, it's interesting that you bring that up. So like I definitely want to delve more into the thanatology stuff of this. So the ghost tours you did, like just like walking around like lantern ghost tours, or you would
We did one in Nulu in Louisville, and we did one in Shepherdsville, which is coming back this year. We're going to bring it back. We're going to do one and see how it does.
So did you and hubby find each other in the paranormal field, or did you guys kind of like?
We randomly met. It was just so random. It was meant to be.
Oh, that's so awesome. So you start out seeing ghosts, and you're doing paranormal stuff. So how did you start to just focus on thanatology? And for people that don't know what that is, give us a little background into thanatology.
Well, thanatology is a new science. It's the study of death and the grieving process of death. You can use thanatology in different ways with the living and the dead. But how I got brought into thanatology was just, all right, I want to be a funeral director. Then I did embalming for a little bit. I helped assist embalming. Then I was like, this is not for me. And I was good with the families and handling the dead. So I was just like, I'm going to go with what my gifts are. So,
okay, embalming. I would never do that. You're right. This was I.
It kind of got brought on to me. They were like, hey, go do this. I was like, what?
That reminds me, like when I worked in a nursing home, it was my first like medical job. I was a CNA, and I worked in a nursing home, and they were like, you want to get your feet wet? And I'm like, what? Like, oh, this lady just passed away. You could go clean her up and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how it was. I was like, what?
And it wasn't a good first experience, I'll tell you that. I was in there by myself, like everything was like wrong.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. Like I didn't know what to expect. I was only like 19 years old.
Oh my god. This is recent years for me.
Yeah, no, I was like 19, and I turned her over and she made a noise, and then I opened. I was like, ah! I was like, she's not dead. Ran out of there. They're like, and they're like, and then like the nurse came over. She's like, listen, when people pass, like their bodies can make noises, or like, it's reflexes. It's like things that like happen. And I was just like, I am never, ever doing that ever again. I was like, it was like the worst.
Right.
I did do it again, but I was just saying at that moment, I was like, oh my, that scared the crap out of me.
Exactly.
But anyways, so what goes into like, what is it? What area of it do you study?
What I'm doing right now, I'm helping out at a women's shelter. It's a local women's shelter, and I'm a grief counselor. What I do is I counsel them and help them concentrate on what goals they want to get out of their self of the moment. It's infant loss. So
It's what?
Women dealing with losing an infant. So
that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. And to be an empath, setting boundaries, meaning not taking on that sorrow and bringing it home. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be really difficult.
That's what I found difficult when I was dealing with the embalming and picking
Wow.
up the dead. That was more harder on me, actually. Um, but doing thanatology, it's a lot better because you're what I'm doing at the moment with it. I'm more focusing on the living and trying to get their life back on track.
Right. Um, so how did you, so, all right. So when you were doing, what I wanted to ask you too was when when you were doing like the embalming and stuff like that,
Yeah.
were you having paranormal experiences with the bodies coming in?
Um, yes and no. Like when we did crime scenes, I would feel the energy, like it was really intense, but I never had like any specific moment. I did work in a mortuary and I was left there alone for several hours. I never really heard anything. I know others around me, they knew what I was, the ghost girl, so they're going to talk to me. Even I would try to hide it and be like, no, that's not me, because they come to you and I'm like, no, please don't associate that with me right now. I want my career. But no, quite honestly, like I didn't feel that there. I just felt like the intense energy around me with the workers. It's very depressing to work constantly and to see that
Yeah.
and go through that.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't imagine like working at a funeral home. You know what I mean? Like just to be around all that sorrow all day long. Like it's got to take a toll on you, you
It
know?
does. It really does. I've seen funeral directors and embalmers. I've heard their stories and stuff. I myself, when I was doing that, like it took a real toll on me. Mostly with the bad ones. Our mortuary, we specialized in like the worst case scenario. The murders, the bad car wrecks, and we were the cleanup crew. And it was very hard.
Yeah. But how do you take care of yourself doing a job like this? You're taking care of all these people, and it's a very sorrowful thing. I mean, at the end of the day, when you help them, I'm sure that is very gratifying and rewarding, when you
Yeah.
see somebody doing better, but that takes a long time, especially a grieving process. I mean, like that could go on for years.
It helps me because I'm a big cheerleader. They call me the energy cheerleader. I like seeing people do better, and that's how I focus on it. And I love helping people, so
Mhm.
it comes natural.
Do these people become family to you in a sense?
Yes, I feel very protective. That's how I was when I was doing the embalming and assisting and all that. That's why I had to, you know, with the paranormal, I had to push it aside at that moment
Hmm.
because you can't mix the two. You really can't.
And why is that? I'm curious. I know nothing about thanatology, so I
Um,
know. So why is it that you can't mix the two?
it's like a big no-no to some people
Oh,
in that
really?
field. Um, I mean, some people are really open to it, but I mean, nobody wants to know the ghost girl, is caring for your loved one. Some of them don't. So
Really?
that's facts.
That's interesting to me because not to downgrade what you do, right? But
Right,
we kind of do this. We kind of research and study the same thing, right?
right, right.
Right. So this is also interesting to me when it comes to historians. Like there's a lot of historians that think the paranormal is no, like
Yeah,
absolutely will not talk, and if I got booted off of a historic page just for saying the word paranormal.
it's ridiculous, and that's what thanatology is trying to bring, is to talk about death, paranormal, ghost, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it goes with anything. You don't know who's dealing with I don't know. It makes me angry. So
Yeah. Because you're open to the paranormal side of it, right?
yes, yes,
You-
absolutely. And
yeah.
I did push that side of me away because I wanted to be professional and I wanted that as a career, and I wanted to genuinely help people with the embalming process. I was really good at it, and I was told that, and I had
Mhm.
to pick or choose. So I choose myself.
Right. So you decided. So how? So what? So
How
so
I decided back to it,
yeah,
school. They're like thanatology. I was like, okay,
really.
yeah.
So how did who came up with thanatology? Like, how did they come up with this term?
It's coming back really good, but it's not where it needs to be. Hi, who's that? It just said hi. It just popped on the screen. Hi,
Oh,
Kathy.
Kathy. Yeah, there's a bunch of people in. Yeah, there's a bunch of people watching.
Oh, well, hi. But it's coming back. Hospice is really bringing it back. Uh, I have a friend who does the clergy work there with thanatology. So
So when you say there, is there just a specific a school or something like that that you guys are working out of, or
it goes for funeral directing school. They have thanatology people who have their own schools of thanatology in different countries, the U.S. I mean, they're trying to create a system there where people can do that.
so learn how to they learn the empathic side of like
The process of death, and
yeah.
you're kind of like a death historian too. So we learn
So
the cultures and all that stuff.
a death historian.
I guess you could say, like
Yeah.
a history of death. I had to learn all of that in the laws of death.
So this was an was it an academic course or just a school that
It's a
everybody like
school.
like-minded people?
They're trying to get it where it's a bachelor's degree. There's only one school that has that and a master's. So they're pushing for it.
What are you hoping? What are you trying to achieve? Like, what are you trying to?
I'm trying to bring paranormal into it.
Okay.
I want people be able to talk about death. That's the biggest problem, and realize not everybody that does ghost books are crazy, and
Right.
they respect people and their boundaries.
It's funny that it's not because yes, most paranormal investigators, I would say 90% are very respectful of the people, the locations,
Right.
the living, the dead, the artifacts, are very respectful.
Right.
You do have that 10%, and unfortunately, some of that 10% is on TV and on YouTube, right? So people are seeing the other side of it that that's not what it's like.
And they kind of ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, there's so many people that are doing good things in the community. You don't ever hear about that. You're just like, oh no, they see ghost people and they're like,
Why is it so taboo?
I really don't know. I just remember when I was working at this one funeral home. There was a lady who was married to the funeral director. She used to be a local ghost hunter, and they were trying to grill me into it, like I was going to go in the middle of the night and do ghost hunts or something at the funeral home. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, so they didn't want you to do that.
No, they didn't want anything brought up ghost related, but they would do it to me and try to trap me into a conversation about it, and I would never do that.
Hmm.
I learned very, very early from an older lady. It's just, you just
So
don't.
they were trying to like convince you that paranormal was bad.
Yes, and I need to pick that, or like I said, I picked myself and
Right.
what I loved. And I
And I
found
love how you put that because you're not like, well, I picked the paranormal. You're
no.
like, no, I followed my heart and I picked what I wanted to do, right? And that's a shame because it's like from what you said, you were really good at that. Now, I have a question though, but you're like when you do crime scenes and stuff, like what can you elaborate a little bit about that?
It's very dangerous. When we go in, we always ask how many stairs there are, how many people, what is the crime. Um,
Now, who would call like who would call you to come out to a crime scene and like who would you go with?
uh, it, well, we worked under contract with different like funeral companies. So like the funeral director, like it'd be an elderly man, he couldn't do it or something, they would call us and we would go in with usually a partner. I usually got stuck by myself sometimes, and that was not fun.
How and you would have to just go you would have to get the people?
I would meet with the coroner first, and then meet with the family. Then I go back there and do that. Mm.
Oh, you would clean them up and stuff or
No, we would put
just
them in
pick
the
them up,
bag. Yeah,
put them up and put them okay.
yeah. I've
Um,
done that too, but when I'm retrieving, and you have to be careful. Like, uh, I, I didn't. I was very unaware. Like, I've actually stepped on needles with my shoes and stuff. Like, it's yeah.
yeah. So funeral directors, so they would use a service to pick up if they came
Yeah,
and
and
didn't
people
want.
don't know about that either, you
No,
know? And it's the runners. That's what they call them in other words too. But yeah, we were the
that's
service.
interesting. Yeah. Um, and then so you would then take them back and then everything. So I didn't know that. I didn't know that about runners. You always assume it's just the funeral home, the funeral people coming.
Nope, they have us under contract. Even the coroners, we worked with their office here in the city I'm in. And when they didn't want to do it, they called us. And yeah.
Wow. So so you left the funeral home.
Yes, that was my first one. Yeah. Then I went
Okay.
to the mortuary to gain the experience, and I was no.
What was the difference with the mortuary to the funeral home?
More hours, more intense. I was very hands on there. Funeral home, it was that was cakewalk compared to the mortuary work.
Yeah. Um, there, did you have to turn the paranormal off?
Yes.
You did.
Yeah.
Now they were the same. They were the same way. Like, don't talk about it, or they were trying
Uh,
to.
it was kind of like not talk about it. Only I just never. I'm not like that. I never brag about myself, but they knew who I was, and they've
Mhm.
tried to trap me in conversations, and I'm not here to prove them who I am or not. I'm here to have a career, and
So, so embalming happens at what happens at a mortuary?
the mortuary I worked at, uh, we worked under contract with different people. Like I said, we do the embalming. For some people, it would have to be right away. Some it would be the next day. I mean, one night we embalmed probably about 8 people.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow, that's a lot.
yes, and it can very be very stressful. And I also drove to different states picking up bodies too.
Well, why would that happen?
Uh, Different contracts for people. Oh,
Oh,
and
gotcha.
I worked for the donors too. Under the well, I they were under contract on, but yeah, I picked up people donating their bodies. A lot of people don't know about that either. People donating their eyes. There's a different bank for that.
So you would just go pick up and you would drop. Sometimes there'd just be parts or whole bodies.
What's left over, I mean, the horrible, I mean, donating, I think is a great thing, but the after part, oh my God.
I can't imagine. Have you ever heard of the body farms?
Yes.
Have you been?
No. I would like to, though.
Me
Just to
too.
say I did
Isn't that
it.
weird? It's weird that I want to go. I used to want to go because I love forensics and stuff like that. Like I've always wanted to be like a crime scene investigator or like a, you know what I mean? Like forensics always
Yeah.
interests me.
Well, you like thanatology, then. You need to do that.
I do. I love forensics, but see, I don't know if I can stomach all the stuff that you've stomached. I mean, like I give you
I was
props.
I've done and seen a lot of stuff. As you can see, my face is horrified talking about it.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy that I just like being in the medical field, you'd think that that's, I mean, I did stitches on people, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, like I've done that, but I remember walking in and like one patient, like literally like in the movies where it's like like this because of varicose vein burst, you know.
Oh my gosh.
And I was in there for a second with the doctor, and it's just like, and he's like, "Get me some chucks," and I'm like trying to find chucks, and all of a sudden, the smell of blood hits my nose, right?
Yeah, that's.
And I was like, "Boom!" I was out. I was out. I mean, I never thought that I would ever be like that. Like I always thought I used to live 20 minutes from by. Oh, Jim said he used to live. Could you was there a smell? I don't know. I've always
there has to be a smell.
Yes, there's about 4 in the country. I feel like. What do you want to do? Come on. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're fine. I love kitty cats.
The body farms, yeah, like to me, that's what I love. So what part of the Thanatology though is it right now you're with grieving?
I'm comfortable with that because that's what I'm good at. And there's different, I never smelled anything you said. I just said
I don't, that's crazy to me. I don't know how. A body farm. A body farm is people that have donated their bodies to, I don't know if it would be schools or the FBI or this, crime scene investigation. I don't know who they just have these bodies all over this land in different stages of decomposing. So like some people I read are in airtight glass, like almost glass coffins, and some of them have cages, like they want to show. So like then if you're going to school for like criminology or forensics or like you actually visit these places to see the different stages of bodies decomposing, and
I've seen everything. So I've seen I remember picking up this one guy. He was burnt up in his house and it was nothing but a skeleton. I mean, I've seen every stage of death. So ugh. I don't want, it's bringing back memories.
how do you deal with that though? I mean, it's such a
I try to channel it into different good things like books or going on ghost hunt. But, you try to forget about it. But when I was doing it, I told myself it's an honor because I'm doing it for him and his family. That's what you tell yourself.
You're doing it for what?
Him and his family, for the families.
Yeah,
because I could never pick up my own. So.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. I apologize.
I could never do my own family.
Oh, yeah. You mean like
or yeah, the process, like when my mother passed, there was a guy that I worked with at the funeral home. He took care of her for me, and I appreciated it. I really did.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be able to do my family either. Like, I don't think I could do that. But I do know people that have.
Yeah, I can't.
But I wouldn't be able to do it. I agree with you. So do you work at like a women's crisis center or like a something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
And people get sent to you, or like are these they lose children and then
Yeah, it's like a process they go through, and yeah, they get sent to me. I only have 2 people I'm working with right now.
and are these like in house, or are these over the phone, are they
In person.
in person, so at a business?
Yeah.
um how is that compared to the mortuary and the funeral home? I mean, it's almost like you're making your way through this circle that you need. Like, do you know, like, eventually what it is that you want to like really focus on?
Um, right. What it's giving me, it gives myself peace because I've been through stuff. So it helps me channel like my process of like giving energy to people. So
Mm-hmm.
and planning stuff for them and celebrating life. That's like my main goal.
Mm-hmm.
Death comes too soon.
Yes. New Kids on the Block. 100%.
Just talking about that.
45 years. They're my boys. I can't help it. um, Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Um, so when you're saying that you want to be able to combine thanatology and the paranormal. How would you do
Yes.
that?
I'm working on that. I want people to talk about death. I want people to realize it's okay. Not all people that believe in ghosts and the afterlife are scary, you know. And that's why I write these books, because I want to share experience, and my goal is to educate people about the paranormal in all aspects. You know, not every psychic's going to tell you something wrong, or don't believe every psychic either. That's a big thing with me. So,
Oh, that's for sure. I mean, I can tell you, I mean, anybody watching can tell you that. I mean,
yeah.
it's like totally 100%. I like that you had said something earlier that I like the way you put it. Oh, okay. Let's go to this really quick. I'm so happy I remember this. So you said about being, um, uh, in the antique store, right?
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
so talk a little bit more about when you said that, that she said about a guy and the cigarette smoke. Like,
Yeah, it was very improv. It's like hysteria. Like she wanted us around, like, to really believe that. And I see that with people with, like, yeah, I had somebody do it to me recently. I was on a ghost hunt, and this lady, she knew who I was, apparently, and yeah, and she came in drunk, and she goes,
oh,
"You're," and everybody knows in the paranormal community, like the people around here, how much I love my mother. I said it on the page. I dedicated books to her and stuff. And she goes, "Your mother follows you everywhere you go." I'm like, "Oh, okay. God bless. Thank you."
yeah,
You know? And
right.
she
But
just went,
you said something interesting about how that puts that 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 like almost plants a seed in people's heads, right? So
yes,
then people are gonna be like, oh, okay, maybe I do smell cigarette smoke, or maybe I do smell cigar smoke,
yes,
right?
yes.
Um,
Yeah. I remember, and I wanted to say, "Oh man, you're so full of crap," you know. But being a kid, I was just like, oh, "Okay, I'm just gonna watch this."
Were people buying into that?
No.
Oh, good. Good.
It was kind of like, okay, can we go home now? It's late at night, but yeah, we were just like, oh boy.
So, what books have you written?
Oh my gosh, we wrote a lot. Kentucky Strange Unusual. I'm really pushing that one right now. I wanted to bring the Headless Horseman story to Kentucky, so I found me a Headless Horseman story. So I got that on the cover.
Is this a true mythical story, or is this like a something you made up and you're just?
Oh no, it's all over Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, try to put everything I could in there. Um, the one that I'm trying to push this week is Jenny is Strange Unusual and tells about my experience through life till now. So,
Well, tell us some.
but another fun embalming story. I had the guy where I worked at the mortuary. He kept on sending me texts back to come back. Then he sent me another one about a couple of months ago saying he was at a funeral home in such and such city. I was like, what do I say to this?
Oh, they wanted you to come back.
Yes.
How? Like, I was going to ask you, do you ever feel like you miss that, or?
I don't know. It's like a part of me misses it because I enjoyed helping people and being there for the families, but I get another opportunity in life where I don't have to feel so miserable doing it and I couldn't be myself. So,
You sound pretty skeptical. Have you
yes.
had paranormal experiences? Like, have you had things happen to you where you thought that this was the other side?
Working there or just like in
And in general, yeah.
um where I thought there was something like with I'm trying to think like there's been so much happening to me
I mean,
over the
like,
years.
was there ever anything that happened to you that, because like I said, you sound like you're skeptical of.
Oh,
Go.
no. They come wanting to talking to me. Uh, Waverly Hills, that is one big intense one that I had there. The shadow person, or I don't know what was going on. Me and my husband were going down the stairs, and the smell was awful. And he said there was two red eyes. It was looking at him, and I panicked. Like, come on, I don't know who's in this building, but let's go. And the guy that was on the tour with us, he slammed me in against the wall running, and he started chanting at it and saying Jesus Christ and all this stuff, and it just made him mad. And it actually pushed down the door where we were to, like, it was whatever is at Waverly Hills. It's very angry. I don't know.
Wow. Did you see the red eyes, or you just saw the door part?
I just saw the door part. I felt scared because I guess that guy was scared because,
Yeah.
being an empath, but myself, I wasn't scared.
Right. Right.
So,
You were more curious.
yes. And like growing up, in a small town and having kids over and your door shuts, they call me the witch. So I try to brush the ghost stuff away, as you can see.
It's funny. I remember one night I had some of my friends. My parents had gone away, and I wasn't supposed to have people over, but I did. And we were watching a movie, and all of a sudden, it sounded like somebody was walking up my steps. You could hear footsteps. You could hear them creaking, and everybody that was with. I had probably like 7 or 8 friends that were there. I still talk to some of them to the day. They'll like they'll contest to it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it. But we were sitting there, and you could hear the creaking of the literally sound like somebody was. And I sat up, and I'm looking around, make sure everybody. And then they all sit up, and I'm like, "Do you guys hear that?" They're like, "We're out of here. We're out of here." That was the creepiest thing we ever. Something so little to now. I would love for that to happen, right? But
Right.
Yeah, I'm leaving with you. I was scared.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not staying.
It's hard to explain. Like, I think if they see you as a light, they're attracted. They want you to hear them out,
Do people that you are helping with the grieving process, do they are they ever really 100% convinced that they're having communication with their loved ones that passed away? Like, how do you help? I mean, I'm sure your abilities probably help with that side of it.
Like remembering birthdays or holidays or when they would have had a birthday. Yeah, it's
No, I
hard.
mean, like, do they ever say, "Oh, you know, I think I heard my baby," or "I think
I
I,"
haven't came across that yet, but like remembering a birthday, yeah, it's hard on them. So
yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's hard with an adult, with a parent, with a, you know what I mean?
anybody,
I
yeah.
mean, I can't imagine. I have never born child. You know what I mean? I have fur babies that
Me
I
too.
I would definitely murder somebody if they mess with my babies, but
Yeah.
um, I can't imagine, you know,
I've
losing.
actually dealt with fur babies and death at the
Really?
mortuary. Yeah, I've done everything, girl.
So fur babies would come there?
Yes, we had to do that too at the night. Yeah,
Like
I've
what?
cremate
Oh,
cremate them.
cremation.
Yeah, and when they dropped them off, there was this
I
guinea
couldn't
pig
do
named
that.
Cheeto. I lost it. I said, "You all, I didn't sign up for this." Smart.
I'd be the same way. I always said if I ever had to go to medical school, I don't want the animals to dissect. Like, just give me a real person. You know what I mean? Like, I can handle the real people better than I'd be able to handle an animal. Like, I can't do it. I'm like one letter short of PETA on PET. Like, I wouldn't be able to, I would be too upset.
It was bad, and like the most unusual pet we ever got was a geese, like
Oh,
some type of rare geese. Had different colors on it. I remember it. It was real
oh
sweet.
wow. Wow. So I know you're not saying it, but do any of the dead that you have come across and have had to have taken care of,
Yeah.
have they ever visited you?
I have never, like I said, I completely shut myself because I knew what I was being around all that energy and stuff. The bad vibes I got was from certain people there. Like, I'm not going to say, but,
You mean
you
people
know,
working there?
yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the worst person I ever picked up was actually the murderer. And that was, I didn't want to, but in death, there's no judgment. And I
Right.
had to do it.
Oh, he was a murderer.
Yes, he murdered his own family. And that was
Oh,
awful.
and
And
then
yeah,
himself?
yes.
Oh boy. That is terrible. That's what I'm
But
saying. Like, I would be needing counseling myself.
yeah,
You
it's hard on me.
know?
But I find so much great joy now. Like, I came back to the community this year. I took time off to find out who I was, losing my mom, and you know and just going through that with finding what I wanted to be.
Um, so Roger, hi Roger. So my poor grandma on my dad's side of the family just went on not wanting to be embalmed. My uncle told her she had to be embalmed when she passes away. She asked why, and he told her it was the law.
It's not the law.
Yeah.
Not in context. Well, it's not.
What do you
It
do if somebody doesn't want to be embalmed? Like, how do they take care of that after? Like, what do they do? Is that more cremation people?
You can be buried without being embalmed. Like,
Really?
yeah, like the funeral home I worked with, his wife, he didn't want her embalmed, and they worked around it. So
No, that's interesting. Why?
the process, I mean, I guess seeing the side of embalming, you know, you
Yeah.
just don't want that for your loved one, you know.
Right. Right. Um, and then when we were talking about being skeptical, you have to, Ghost Quest says you have to be skeptical always. I find myself more skeptical of people rather than ghosts. Yes.
Yeah.
You hit that one. Coming back into the paranormal community, are you
I'm
embracing?
very excited. And you came on there, I was like, wow, she's awesome. I love her energy, you know,
Oh,
like,
thank you.
and I'm following you on that New Kids on the Block. I was like, she's perfect.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that you said that. Because I was watching you on, I believe, were you on
With
New
Sean and on Paranormal
oh yeah.
podcast. Yeah,
Sean.
like they were so funny. They made me feel so comfortable and like yeah, after doing that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
time.
good. Yeah. And so now you're doing your grieving thing and stuff, but you're also paranormal investigating.
Yes, I went on one recently. I'm trying to get back into it. It just has to be like something that calls for my energy, I guess you can say. And the books, they're always going to come because I'm like, I got to put this stuff out there. It's in my head. I know people will enjoy it.
All right, so tell everybody what your books are. Again, where they can find them where at on your page?
On Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, Google me. So I tell people, I just like Google me. You can find, if you don't want to do Amazon, there's different outlets. So,
Yeah. All right, so what are your books?
Kentucky Strange and Unusual.
And that's
Uh,
all about the headless horseman.
no, all about Kentucky. I just wanted a headless horseman story because I love that
Oh,
story,
gotcha.
and we
So
are
it's
the horse state.
so yeah, so that book is all about strange, unusual in Kentucky.
Yes,
Okay.
I got to bring my where I grew up, Shepherdsville, and that's where the ghost tour hopefully will be brought back this year. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
And then okay, so go ahead. Your next you said you had a few books.
Jenny is Strange and Unusual. We're wrapping up the edits on that, and that's just about my life till where I am now. So the real life Lydia Dietz.
Yeah, that's cute that you are you excited Beetlejuice is coming out?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I told everybody in my family if they tell me the ending or anything about it, they're dead to me. I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing that movie. I haven't been too big on the remakes, but for some reason that one, and maybe because Michael Keaton's in it and
Yeah.
Loretta, but you know what I mean? Like I'm really looking forward to seeing that remake for sure.
Beetlejuice has paranormal elements to it. Have you noticed
Oh, for
that?
sure. Oh yeah, well yeah, I mean they're all dead, you know what I mean? Like Beetlejuice is dead and and all that. Absolutely.
And how he brought like Saturn into it. Isn't that supposed to be something like, I don't know. I just thought that was
Personally?
so into the paranormal, or I don't know, maybe a cult or something. Tim
Wait,
Burton's very spooky, so
yes. And I like that about him.
yes.
Didn't he did Nightmare Before Christmas, right?
Yeah,
Didn't he do that?
and
Is that
another one. Huh?
isn't that Tim Burton, The Nightmare
Yeah.
Before Christmas?
Oh yeah.
I love Jack. Jack is my boy.
And Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yes.
Yeah, so I love that you are getting back into the paranormal. I mean, you have had so much experience with death,
Yes.
you
And
know. So
it just feels right. You know, this year just feels like it's calling to me, and it just says, "Wake up, Jenny." You know.
yeah, like stop focusing on death. Let's focus on the living and the afterlife,
Yeah.
the life,
Yeah.
and that's awesome. That's awesome. So when you go on paranormal investigations, um, I'm assuming you turn that switch on.
Yeah.
that you had off for so long.
When I went on my recent one, I met an old acquaintance. She was into the paranormal the same time I came around for it, and it felt so good seeing her again. And she talked with me, and she goes, "Jenny, where did you feel the energy at?" And I told her, and she's very intuitive. She's well known, and she said, "Yeah, that's the spot." So that felt good. She felt the same thing I did. So
Validation is always good, right?
yes, it makes you feel less crazy.
Yeah, you're not always going to be right, but you know, if you really are true, and not meaning you specifically, but I mean,
Yeah.
globally, if you really are true to what it is, then it'll prove itself. You don't have to prove it to anybody. You don't have to like go out of your way to do things to try to prove yourself. Like it just happens. And that's the one thing that I like about you is that, you aren't pushing yourself on anybody. You're not trying to be that person. It's coming to you. You've tried to avoid it, but it's coming to you. So obviously,
Yes, it has. It came
yes,
really strong this year.
right.
And
So
like I
obviously,
said, I saw light with you. I was like, this is gonna be fun.
yeah. No, I'm so glad. I'm like thanatology. I've never heard of this. And like I saw you on Sean's show, and I'm like, I'm a respectful, peer to people. So I was like, do you mind if I reach out to her and have her on my show? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you don't want people to think,
No.
but are you going to be doing are you looking to get onto the East Coast at all?
Yes. Hopefully next year. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. So
That would be cool because have you ever been to Gettysburg?
I wanna go.
You should.
Seeing all the activity there, oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm telling you, I was always afraid of the paranormal until I had my first experience. I had after having my first experience, I realized I had experiences in the past, but I didn't know what was going on. But I had my first experience in Gettysburg, and you know, um, going forward, it's like I got the coordinates tattooed on me for Gettysburg. Hold on.
Love that.
So that's my home really. Hey
Love
John.
it.
So I really would love to read your book, Kentucky, and then that show. Jeremy Leonard, didn't he do Ghosts of Shepherdstown?
That's actually somewhere different.
What is it? When you
I
were
don't
saying
know.
Shepherdstown, I thought you were talking about that.
No, it's I don't know where it's at. I remember hearing about it when I was at a convention with Nick Groff. I was like, when he was doing the promotional for it, I was like, "What is that?" I was there, and people were coming up to our table. I was like, "No, it's Shepherdsville. It's
Oh,
outside of
Shepherdsville.
Louisville."
You're Shepherdsville, they're
Yeah,
Shepherdstown. Oh, yeah.
it's okay.
All right, so you're just starting out. So where do you see yourself in five years with this?
I
Because
don't know.
this is totally different. This is a totally different aspect of the paranormal field or of thanatology. You know what I mean? Like, where do you see this going?
I'm hoping that you know we can be more open about it, talking about death and getting, paranormal more known in books everywhere, and people talking about it and not being freaked out, Ouija board doesn't, because you have a Ouija board doesn't mean anything. But I just want people more relaxed when there's a ghost person around.
Yeah. I mean, I would think like for me, I would have to try to work on being relaxed around somebody that's being like I can't imagine being around all that. Like you got some balls, girl. If I can say that, being like respectful,
Thank
like
you.
I mean, like you got to have like a tough stomach. You got to have a solid like self care system going on because I worked for a vet for like a year and a half, and
Oh my God.
every night I went home crying. Every night. And I was
Oh,
like, I don't know how I am good. Like I was so depressed for like a
yeah.
year. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm like, I love animals. I thought this was gonna be totally different. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was like not what I expected. And you know, I would take it home with me, and that's animals and stuff. Like it's nothing like
It started to affect my health, like the chemicals. Like I would get ready for
I'm
them
not talking about the
warmer.
chemicals. I'm just talking about like the mental,
Well, yeah,
emotional.
I'm just saying it got my health too at the end. Like it was burning my eyes. Like there was this one chemical they kept using. It was for, I think it was, they would try to use it for the elder ladies to make them look more pink or whatever. And it was just burning the crap out of my eyes. And it did to another girl. I'm just like, why are we using this chemical? You know, there's got to be a different, because they had a contract with that person. So I don't
It's
know.
interesting. So they had to use certain stuff for different contract
Yeah.
companies, and the families don't know about that kind of stuff, right? They just,
No, and it's so crazy. Like the runners, like I was like, I'm the one getting your loved one. It's not so and so.
yeah. Jim
You
says,
know.
"Moose and the dead have never bothered me, but the living have." I know everybody says that.
Yeah. Never trust the living, right?
Oh, yeah. Look,
I love that.
I'm right
You're a
there.
Lydia Deetz girl. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like but that's such a true statement. It's such a true statement. I mean, I don't go in the woods not because I'm afraid that I'm going to run into a ghost or paranormal or Bigfoot. I'm afraid I'm going to run into a wrong turn person.
And you know what's sad? I picked up more homeless people, it seemed like, you know, and not with no families. That's with the coroner's office. And they
Yeah,
don't know if it's like a drug overdose or somebody just
that's
killed
sad.
them for their clothes, you know.
Yeah, that is sad. Do you ever, so when they come in and they're like, it's unknown, do you ever like,
I've had Jane Does and stuff, yeah.
but I mean, have you ever picked up on stuff when these unknowns were coming in? Like, were you ever like, oh, I feel this, I feel that?
When that would happen, I would try to talk to somebody, you know, or turn on the music. I mean, at first when I started doing it, I would try to talk to them and say sorry when you were picking up, and I was taught not to talk to the body. They're dead, but they're not dead. Trust me. You know, they're still around, and
That's
I
what I'm
feel,
saying. Like, would you feel these people around? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
I feel sadness. You know,
yeah,
I think what got me at the end was, besides the horrible chemicals, picking up children. You
yeah,
know, nobody wants to see that.
right.
You know, like I said, I've been in worst case scenarios. I've seen every type of death. I am deaf. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's got to be tough. I mean, if and I mean, I guess you could say it's fair to say it's a good thing that you've moved out of that and now you're transitioning into doing something different.
Yeah, I picked me, and I'm really enjoying it this year. Like seeing new faces and new conventions. You know, celebration of life, and that's really exciting. And doing, you know, a few hours a week, what I do, that helps me bring balance to my head. So
You mean helping
yeah.
fat, yeah, helping the women. And Kentucky, I'm just going to put this out there, has some really good moonshine.
We're all about that here.
I'm all about that, and I'm in New Jersey, and I want to be all about that in Kentucky. I had a friend who had family in Kentucky, and he would bring me back homemade moonshine from Kentucky, and I was like, if I lived, if this was accessible to me, like I would my liver would fail in 3 seconds. Like it was so good,
Well, if I go to Gettysburg, I'll bring you some.
and I'll meet you there. What we should do. We should do a Beetlejuice themed Gettysburg ghost hunt.
Oh my God, I would love that.
We could do that.
Yes, I will remember that too.
Yes. Maybe that'll give you some, motivation to like really want to come out. You do
I
this with your
do.
husband now, right?
Do what?
You do this with your husband now. He does
Yeah.
paranormal with you. That's awesome. So have him come along, and we'll make a weekend or whatever.
He's more into like, um, well, he's concentrating on his horror right now, but he does nonfiction or fictional writing too. But yeah, he just says, "Go at it, Jenny." So it'll probably be me and you.
He's on the horror side of it.
Yes, he loves horror, and he's trying to do sci-fi and all of that.
Sci-fi is
So
okay. I used to love horror, but the older I get,
yeah,
the more I can't handle it. It's really sad.
I
I
like
was
the old horror, like Bride of Frankenstein and Lily Munsters and all that.
like, my mom told me like I would sit there and be watching The Exorcist with my grandfather. I was like 3 or 4, and
Oh God,
we would be laughing about it, right? And
yeah.
like Chainsaw Massacre and this and that, and like I literally the last Texas Chainsaw Massacre I saw was the one with Jessica Biel in it, and I
Oh
literally
yeah.
didn't eat pizza for 2 weeks. I didn't eat soup for 2 weeks. I had like anxiety attacks for like I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is insane. Why am I watching this?
Well, like I was telling him the other day, there's people that just write horror and like they've never really just seen the real horror,
Right.
And
What?
he was talking to another author. It's like, how can you write stuff like that?
It's interesting because a lot of people have that question. Like, like how does somebody think of
And
those
get
things?
inspired. Yeah.
And they're normal, right?
Yeah.
like I'm just gonna put this one out there because I've never watched it and I will not watch it. But Human Centipede, like who thinks of that?
Ugh, I don't want to watch that.
who can think of that in their head and put that together and like, you know what I mean? Like I would never in a million years ever sit down and I'd be like, oh, what would be really cool? If I did a movie about a human centipede.
I know, and there's like a falling for it. I'm like, what is wrong with you all?
Oh,
Whatever.
I know, yeah. We got off subject, but anyway,
It's true though.
it is so true. It's disturbing. Like I can't even imagine what that movie. I mean, like there are people that love, and I'm not saying there's anything bad about people that love horror or anybody that writes horror or loves horror.
No, yeah.
Personally, for me, I prefer the ghosty type movies, or the like the battle between God and the devil. You know what I mean? Like movies,
Yeah, like a psychological horror or something like that. Yeah.
Even psychological horrors I love. But I mean, like I love, and I like more old school stuff too. But mine are more like um, What Lies Beneath, and
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
yeah, and The Others with Nicole Kidman, and
Love that movie.
yeah. So movies like that I absolutely adore. But then I also love like The Reich with Anthony Hopkins, and the Pope's Last Exorcism that just came out. That one was good.
I love that.
I love movies like that too, and vampire movies. All about vampires.
Yes. Yeah. I love Dracula.
Oh yeah. But well, our hour is up, Jenny, already.
All right. Well, we gotta hang out.
Yes, we definitely do. I wish I had the means to just get up and drive and fly to Kentucky because I would. I've never been on that side of the earth, but on the United States, I meant to say. But one day.
I will be at Gettysburg. I promise. I will make plans. It's in July, right?
Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. Yes.
Okay. I will make plans. I promise. We
will
have so much fun.
Yes, you have to go. That would be so cool to see you.
Yes.
I would love it. And I want to thank you so much for coming on. Just once again, just let everybody know where they can find your books or your book that you have out, and you're coming out with another book. And if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to you, I guess, on Facebook.
Yeah. Or we have an email for our horror press, Nightmare Press. We're trying to get things in order right now because we've been full force this year. But you can reach me on Facebook. Just message me. I have a new book coming out. Jenny is Strange and Unusual. You can buy it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, different places. Just Google me. I'm always doing something, it seems like, every weekend.
I know. Yeah. This weekend, me and my peaches, I'm a part of Paranormal Peaches. We're a group of girls, 6 of us.
Oh, cute.
Yes. We're going on a Bigfoot camping adventure thing all weekend.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. I don't believe in Bigfoot. I don't say that it doesn't exist, but right. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's possible.
Right.
Anything is possible, right? So it's a whole weekend long thing, Friday to Sunday, and the guys that hunt Bigfoots on TV are going to be there, and there's going to be lectures, and Friday night doing a Bigfoot hike up into the mountains, and it just sounds like it's going to be really cool. So I'm looking forward to it. That's what I'm doing this weekend, and in 3 weekends I'll be in Gettysburg investigating, and on the 21st I have a public ghost hunt going on at Bird Mansion. That's in Birdsboro, Pennsylvania, which you're way too far, but
we actually have a friend, he helps run the press. He lives in Pennsylvania, so
really?
I'll ask him about it.
Yeah. It's all the proceeds go back into the location, obviously, whenever we do something like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
We don't take any money. So
right.
It's $50 a ticket, and it's a ghost hunt all night long. You know what I mean? Like, we'll let them use our equipment and and all that good stuff.
You can't get that often,
Yeah, and you know what? We're gonna do it the way we would do a paranormal investigation. We'll break up into groups. The place is big enough, so people. We can separate. Everybody starts on the bottom floor and the top floor, and we'll switch floors, and we'll let people experience what it's like to really investigate. And we have investigated that place probably 7 to 10 times, and it's an active place. So I'm looking forward to getting back in there. So, but yeah, that's my September's pretty booked.
Yeah, it's always September. October, it's kind of like, everybody gets excited
for Halloween. I know.
Yeah.
September is Halloween Eve. I'm already to get excited. I'm like, yes, I just wanted to stay warm, and I'm happy. Just bring me Halloween, but make it warm still.
Right.
Well, Jenny, I hope you get to where you're going safely. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And
it's an honor.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'll have to have you back on again. And in the future, once your second book comes out, and you start to find your path in bringing the paranormal and thanatology together. I always want to say thanatology, but thanatology,
think
right?
Of Thanos.
Yes. Kathy says, great show. Thank you, Kathy. All right. Well, with that, I hope everybody has a good night. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for your questions and your comments. Ghost Quest, thank you for the love. Jim, as well. Yvette, for all you do. I love you. And I will see you guys. I think I have a Sunday show. It's Mike Ricksecker. I don't know if you know Mike Ricksecker. Sunday, I have a special Spooky Sunday episode. It's with Mike Ricksecker. He's going to be coming on, and he's a phenomenal. If you get a chance to check him out, I mean, he's great.
Definitely.
I've had him on a few times, and he's good. He's an author, and he's a world traveler for the unusual. And
well, I will have to check him out then.
Yeah. You would like him. But yeah. So thank you, Jenny, again. Everybody, thank you so much. And until Sunday or Wednesday, love you guys.
Bye.